Welcome to your magical moon, Messy Edge. This is the Peace Dealer, and we are coming up into the crux of the most important part of this Virgo season. Ladies and gentlemen, by the time the moon is in Gemini, we are going to have a perfect 270-degree third quarter square with the sun conjunct Mercury retrograde. See this? This is my cranium. In my cranium, if this is my cranium, I don't know. I'm just saying that. In this skull of mine is my brain. My brain allows me to process input and output of relative to what language I have programmed into my brain to speak. Because as you notice, every device is programmed with a programming language. And then when you spawned on this planet, the first 10 developmental years in your life, whether through school, homeschooling, or your parents, they programmed language in your brain. And you've been using this language unconsciously and consciously to compute and make sense of the world around you. And so this processing CPU brain unit that actually helps process your body's systems in one cumulative unit. Cumulative is not the right word. It projects a consciousness. Could you imagine if we didn't have Mercury and you just had your sun? You would just be a baby. You would just be aware of shit, but like you wouldn't know what you're aware of. You know how babies can't even hold their head up? That would be you. But because you have Mercury, now you can be like, oh, that's a cloud. Look, cloud. That's a car. That's foliage. Programming, because I'm operating off of the English language programming. Some of you speak different languages, so you got different languages programmed in your Mercury. See where I'm going with this? All right. So basically, now that Mercury is in Virgo, this is a yearly update of analysis. Oh, this is how that is. This is how that is. Oh, that person's breath smells really bad too. This is what Mercury enables you to process in your experience. Ruling Gemini, experimentation, led by curiosity, and ruling Virgo, analysis, that now takes what you experimented and breaks down some reality and facts from it. Okay, so this conjunction that happens between every retrograde direct cycle is very important. The first conjunction we have is the retrograde, then it catches up with the direct, we have the next conjunction. The reason why this is very important, guys, is because it is making an exact square with the moon in Gemini. And because we had a full moon in Pisces with Neptune and Saturn, now all that metaphysical understanding of the unseen and how it influences our real behavior is crystallizing into a very true intellectual mental understanding of taking what we couldn't see and now putting it into words at an exact square that is like adjusting the focus on a camera. Okay, this is so very iconic, because once we get to this third quarter square and begin to conclude and start the new moon in Virgo, the way you're going to perceive the truth of how you have evolved new habits and new techniques you're getting ready to integrate into your experience is not only a true game changer that's going to mark the completion of now living your life in a way quintessentially different than the way you have due to enhanced senses and just more power overall, but that makes this transit, I think, the most important, because in coming into this sense where now you're going to understand that you can see sharper, feel sharper, you literally understand the truth about abilities you can incorporate to enhance your life. It is the strengthening quality of your physical senses that is ascending, so that you can now, for the first time since we stepped into Virgo season, practically sense physically this changing your behavior. Okay, 2 weeks ago the moon was in Scorpio. And with the moon in Scorpio, you were still understanding the pure energy needed to begin to integrate this new moon in Leo energy that instantly began to translate into how you transform your behavior. A lot of this was intangible and depth of psychology that now 2 weeks later, after the moon in Aquarius that helped you integrate the knowledge, you're able to now see the practical physical effects. If Jupiter and Uranus weren't in Taurus, this would not necessarily be as pronounced as it is. But now that Jupiter is back 12 years later from an exact cycle, if anything, not only is this helping you unconventionally awaken the vision of how people will show their behavior and thus insecurities or securities that are projected or, of course, controlled and maintained, but this is going to show you how much you are also manifesting the natural understanding of showing you the meaning of everything we've done over the past 3 weeks. I will maintain this. This is a very important transit, and it is going to lead into the moon in Gemini. This is really beautiful too, because the conjunction of moon, Jupiter, and Uranus really brings to a halt every doubt and a lot of BS that people outside of you or kind of opposing or having different opinions or insights might have said maliciously behind your back or to your face. Without having to argue with people. This is not air energy. There's no Gemini. There's only Mars and Libra. There's no Aquarius. This shit is shut the fuck up because I showed you the proof. You see it on me. Okay? You said A, B, C, and D, and that I would never achieve this, bitch. Look at the success I achieved. What you gotta say now? Yeah, I thought so. Shut the fuck up. So that's basically what your aura is gonna be doing without having to say that. Oh yes, let's get it. That's why I love this transit. This is very important though, because Jupiter and Taurus is expanding and evolving the quality of how much energy your physical body can harness and the way you can practically sense. Whereas most of this up until this point was very auto-nervous, very subconscious. You're not aware of the cell division in your bodies. So what if you could be? Not necessarily the cell division, but these, nuances within the quality of your body that you'll not only understand, but the ninth house of philosophy and vision and ascension to Virgo is going to show you the natural practical element and effect of this strengthening in your body, and how this strengthening facet of harvesting the full moon of the cycle is actively manifesting greater strength to produce a greater effect of mastery through you. So once again, this is where you're going to see the results. And then the moon in Gemini is going to help you understand the truth of the results. Moon in Cancer, 11th house, is going to have you feel out who you can accomplish that and achieve this success with. So it all happens here, guys. And you really want to really stand firm on the unconventional values that align with this philosophical nature of where you're getting ready to direct your behavior. Because let's not forget, the whole purpose of this is to prepare you for the eclipse in Libra. You are activating supernatural techniques. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. These are fucking superpowers. Because over the next 6 months from Libra to Aries, you have to go through that South Node portal and connect with all sorts of people using your abilities. Like everything from March to now was just to initialize your new abilities. You evolved Jupiter, Sun, Aries. You now began to integrate that Cancer season. You're completing the integration now over the next 20 days. Boom, we step into Libra season, where we now present everything we've been practicing through this montage season, Virgo. And this is the part of the montage where normally in a montage, you see someone struggling. And then you have that turning point in the montage where something clicks, and then they start to improve. And then at the end of the montage, what used to be a struggle it clicks. It's simple for them. That clicking moment is the next 2 days, where once the moon is in Gemini, it's no longer hard, like you're mastering it. The rest of Virgo season, coming into the activation of the new moon, is the part of the montage from moon Gemini to moon Virgo, where it used to take me forever just to carry the sandbag across the gym. Now I can carry it and run around with no problem. But this moon in Taurus is the final part of the improvement. So since the moon in Pisces, that was the part of the montage where you're starting to gain noticeable improvement. Something clicks. And like, it used to take you 50 minutes just to pick up the sandbag and walk around one lap. Now it takes you 10 minutes. Now it takes you 5 minutes. And you're not even that tired. This moon in Taurus is that part of the montage where you are manifesting the natural strength that shows you have ascended, and you are actively improving on what you had just started to master 10 days ago. And the sun is in the decan of Saturn, which is totality, karma, and control. So whereas the first 10 days enabled you to start to practice and put into form new habits, now you're constructing it into reality. Saturn rules the material totality, all right, or all of the material universe. So this is where it's going to start to bring in more form. This is where you're reinforcing it with more powerful mechanics. And because Jupiter and Uranus is the real manifestation of the quality of these superpowers, this is where it's going to be more super real than ever, coming into the rest of the transit, because we're going to end Virgo off with the new moon in Virgo. So it's like you're transforming your behavior, you're setting up a routine, then you're activating that routine at the end of the montage. If this was a montage scene, it's like you tried to do a technique and you failed, then you improved, then you mastered it, then the new moon in Virgo, you're able to finally do the technique. Okay, if the transit started off with the new moon in Virgo like normal, and then we ended with the full moon, then you would have started the montage off doing the technique, but it just wasn't that powerful. Then you would improve, then you would master it, then you would do the technique again and master it more. But that's not the case of this. You're going to actually do the technique last, okay? And that's the new moon in Virgo. So we, of course, are within 5 signs of that, which is going to be like another 10 days, a week and a half, give or take. And I want you to be very excited, because this is going to show you what you're going to think and how to now change your behavior. Moon in Pisces, Sun in Virgo, game changer. Moon in Sag, Sun in Virgo, game changer. Moon in Gemini, Sun in Virgo, game changer. Sun and Moon in Virgo, game changer, because you're having these mutable sign transits shift your perspective. The game changer changes your perception, which moves you in a different direction or a more aligned direction. So there you go. Because of the sextile to Pisces with Saturn and Neptune, the reinforcement of your beliefs, of everything that you've started to understand you believe, is now being naturally reinforced by physical, practical evidence. So the synchronicities that you saw while the moon was in Pisces, which of course sequenced these experiences in a way that made it really hard to doubt that there was some causality as a part of, is now being followed up by real, practical, solid quality. So that's going to reinforce everything you believe, because now you're naturally actually experiencing it. You should get excited about this, because it's that badass. And because it's sextiling this metaphysical quality, that's what's going to be aligning you with more of this natural understanding of the metaphysical. It is, of course, the Pisces that makes this supernatural, and the Uranus in Taurus that makes this extra dimensional. You drawing from energy and properties outside of this reality that we know is not locally here, which means where are you? You're going to come into a lot more natural understanding of this as you will understand more how to behave with your body. Especially the conjunction to Uranus that's going to be trine Pluto, while the moon will also trine Mercury retrograde, will aid in this reevaluation of how you are shifting your behavior in light of these new mechanics that are not really new but might be new to you in this period, being able to fully integrate themselves. All right. With Mars that's still just in Libra, you have effectively perfected the action output of these mastered elements of your behavior. So you want to see how, in the way you present your character towards others in relationships, this will enable you to adjust, especially by the time the moon in Gemini starts to trine it during our next lunar transit. Godspeed. It's getting real, y'all. Peace.